So welcome to the session on option arrangement, right? I don't think you would have seen any of this session anywhere in this country because people generally say it is unpredictable public service commission, but my experience makes it most predictable. Okay? In the sense, you know what happens when with respect to UPSC, and it has a beautiful cyclical trend that is followed when it comes to questioning pattern. Now, whatever that I am going to discuss for next probably 1 hour or 1.5 hours, it depends. It is purely dependent upon what has been the trend with respect to PYQs, what has been asked, what has been questioned, what has been changed, what can be asked. That means we would look at the probability of rearrangement of options when it comes to the prelims examination. And I think most of us have assembled here just to understand and forecast what is going to happen in 2026. Just a quick sample check. How many of you are giving in 2026? Now, some of you might be like, a question in Russell. Right? If it was not in 2026, then why would we assemble here? Is it to see you or something? No. Okay. Now, what has been happening in general? I would say 2011 till 2015 was one cycle of options. 2016 till 2020 was a different set of the cycle of options. I'll elaborate upon this, don't worry. But what has been happening right now, especially post 2021 till 2025, I see that the factor of change that is existing with respect to this options is extremely high. Now here, when I look at the nature of the question papers that were existing, in all of these years, we see the questions were tough. But the problem with these years is any given day questions were tough. At the end of the day, it is UPSC. Questions were tough. But one additional bonanza that we see is we also have the options becoming tough. The major reason why options are becoming tough, it is not with respect to the kind of language that is being used by UPSC. That is not the context. But rather, when you look at why options are becoming tough, the kind of arrangements that are made with respect to the options have been tweaked a lot. And more importantly, one common pattern that you see is there is a skewed arrangement of options which is being happening in the context of question paper. And when I say skewed, most of us were thinking all of the option arrangements was random. But I will tell you the science behind this option arrangement today. And I will also tell you what can be forecasted with respect to 2026, with respect to what kind of option arrangement is going to come. Now, I've been using this word called option arrangement. Now, when I look at this option arrangement, please be very, very clear that I am not talking about the language. For me, I am not bothered about language. Are they using some bombastic English in that, or are they using some tough language, or are they using some lucid language? I am not talking about the language. Rather, I am purely talking about what is the pattern of option arrangement that is existing. Now, in general, when you look at the different types which are existing in UPSC, the first type of option arrangement that you see is single liners. Now, when I say single liners, all that is what they would give you some question and they would immediately ask you, choose which of the following. Those are what? Single liners. Not only single liners, I will also see single phrases to be existing as part of the options. And most of the times I don't have any analysis. These questions with the single liners are always based on facts. First. The second kind of option arrangement that you would in general observe is the multiple statements. When we look at this multiple statements, again we see a change that is happening with respect to what kind of pattern is being arranged. One, either they are looking at the numerical arrangement or they are looking at some holistic arrangement. Now when I say numerical arrangement, what are they categorically talking about? Again, if I am having some question, I am having say 3 statements. I could see that there is an arrangement something like this. That is what? Simple numerical arrangement. And in 99% of the cases, if you see something like this numerical arrangement which is happening in the context of the option, you please focus on eliminating one statement. You focus on eliminating one statement, and when you eliminate one statement, you are going to arrive at the answer. Now don't eliminate this on a purpose just for eliminating sake. If you find that one statement could be eliminated, go for it. One. The other holistic arrangement that I see is again looking at the same question. 3 statements or say 4 statements, or per se let us take 3 alone. What do you see? Option A, 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, none. Yes, or sometimes I would have all. 1 only, 2 only, 3 only, none, all. Right? Now, what do we generally interpret in this? Are they talking about the statements or are they talking about the number of statements? Here. Now, please understand, if you have the Roman usage, they are only talking about the statements. They are not talking about number of statements. But only 1, only 2, only 3, all or none. In this context, they are talking about what? Number of statements. In this, what are they talking about? They are only talking about respective statements, not number of statements. This is the second kind of pattern which is seen to be existing, again depending upon what? Multiple statements. I am just giving you the brief arrangement which is existing, and then I would tell you how to tackle each of it little later. So what are we seeing? One single liner which is factual. The second one is the multiple statements where the numerical and holistic, right? Now the third kind of arrangement, what is happening here again with respect to multiple statements, that is the cause and effect or reasoning and assertion. Now this reasoning and assertion is again what? Again a question with multiple statements. Reasoning and assertion is again a question with what? Multiple statements. Now it is not that that question is going to have single statement, but rather I am having multiple statements which are given. Now in this, the latest improvisation that you see, which most of you faced difficulty in 2025 paper, was they were limiting to 2 statements once upon a time, and suddenly in 2025 we had 3 statements coming into the picture, where they are trying to understand, where they are trying to figure out the reasoning and assertion with respect to 3 statements. But whereas when you look at previous trend, it was 2 statements. Now here, what are they asking you? They are asking you statement 2. They are giving you some matter on statement 1, some matter on statement 2. And they are asking you to evaluate whether statement 2 is the reason for statement 1. If that is the reason, then option is going to be A. If that is not the reason, option is going to be B. But if statement 1 is right and statement 2 is incorrect and statement 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is right, it is going to be either C or D. General arrangement again. Now this question or this session would appear like Greek and Latin if you have not seen UPSC question paper till now. But if you have seen some institute's question paper and think that this is going to be the pattern, that is not true. I am expecting, anticipating, hoping, wishing that you would have definitely seen UPSC question paper. Yes. And in that context, this is how the option arrangement goes on with respect to two statements. When I look at three statement basis, what do you see here again? Statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. Now, what is the general nature of understanding is they are seeing whether statement 2 and statement 3 is resulting in statement 1 or not. If that is the context, then it is going to be option A. Right? If statement 2 and statement 3 are turning out to be the reason for statement 1, it is going to be option A. But otherwise, either it can be B, C, D, depending upon what is the condition. I'll tell you how to handle that particular three statement question. So the third arrangement or the third kind of pattern that I see is cause and effect and reasoning and assertion. Now, the fourth kind of pattern that you see here is the questions of matching. The questions of matching. Now, when you look at these questions of matching, you see, most of the times we used to come across the two column matching, but slowly what UPSC started doing, it started coming up with three column matching. If you would have seen my previous session on strategy for prelims examination, I would have told you that this is what is going to be anticipated for this year. The most probable pattern of options in 2026 is going to be three column matching again. I will show you the trends. What is the basis? I will give you the logic also. When I am talking about these two columns, most of the times either I am having three statements. Most of the times I am having either four statements. Most of the times I am having five statements. It could be six. Maximum UPSC has gone up to 7 statements. That means how is the pattern going to be? 1, say X is related to Y. 2, A is related to B. 3, D is related to F. Some random matching. This is one column, this is other column. 4, right? G is related to H. I'm just telling again. Say 5, K is related to S. Now they are asking you which of the following pairs are correct. Now when they are asking you which of the following pairs are correct, either that could be of the range of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if you would have attended my elimination session again, one recent technique that I would have told you is any matching pair with more than 4 statements. It is n minus 2. The answer is what? N minus 2 with respect to what? Any statement or number of statements when they happen to be more than 4. I'll show you again with proof with respect to n minus 2. That means if I see some 5 statements like this, I don't have to struggle much. The answer is what? Only 3 are correct among them. How only 3 are correct? Because n here is what? 5. N minus 2 is what? 5 minus 2, that is 3. Sir, how did this formula come? After a lot of differentiation and integration and real-time analysis in the exam hall, I have derived this formula. Right? No, that was an eureka moment, that's all. And depending upon what? Depending upon my previous analysis and experience, it is n minus 2, fantastically working out for options more than 4 statements. Now, sir, what for 4 statements, what should I do? N is 4, sir, 4 minus 4, it is 0, so none of the above. That doesn't work out. Right? So, be clear with respect to these dimensions here. When it comes to this, again we have a particular pattern which I would tell you. When I am talking about 3 columns, what is UPSC slowly giving you the flavor of column A, column B, column C. Right? And what is it asking you? It is asking you, say, X, Y, Z. It is expecting you to see that whether these two are related. Whether these two are related and whether these two are related. Now, just imagine, I have, say, 3 column matching like this, and UPSC has given 5. X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, L, M. Now it is asking you which of the following are correct. Now how many probabilities are you supposed to check here? Is X related to Y? Is Y related to Z? Is X related to Z? That means for every option I should be able to see how many? 3. So how many probabilities that I see? 5, 15. ఎల్లారికో అంతేగా, రైట్? ఏం ఉండదు, గంట అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఒకటి క్వశ్చన్ అయింది. ఎందుకు? ఫస్ట్ యూ విల్ స్టార్ట్ ఎక్స్ ఇస్ రిలేటెడ్ టు వై, వై ఇస్ రిలేటెడ్ టు జెడ్, జెడ్ ఎక్స్ సంబంధం మర్చిపోతుంది. Then again you will come to second A, B, B, C. You will forget the relation between A and C. Are you understanding this? Now this is the new trend which UPSC is going to make your question paper tougher. And this is not so easy to tackle. I'll tell you again. Towards the end, again I'll give you a mechanism how to tackle this particular option pattern also. So what is happening? We have 3 matching which is present. Now another kind of options that we generally see is something which is very random. Now when I say something which is very random, especially when the question is a phrase and the options are statements. When I say statements, what happens? UPSC, for suppose last year we had one question on some 100 million farmers or million farmers, some question was there. Now for which if you look at the question, it was a small question, but the statements were, each statement was running for 4 lines. And what is it asking? Which of the following is correct with respect to this? Now that is going to be what? Again, a random nature of questioning, where I see that the phrase, the question is just a phrase, but whereas options are what? Statements. Another kind of random option that you generally come across is some single words. For example, in 2024 we had this question with respect to which of the following chemical is induced with respect to some medical operations. Now there they just gave you nitrous pentoxide, nitrous oxide, nitrous dioxide, and they were asking you to choose one. Yes or no? Now I will always caution the aspirant to be very careful about these. I'll show you that example. Where is 24 paper? I'll show you the most troubling sheet in 24 question paper. Now hope you are seeing the question paper, right? That what is all material? It is all filled with statements after statements. Yes, a laborious. What happened? No, that's okay. I'm showing some other page. Very good. Good. Sare ma 33 hai. Right, I am not talking about the question, but I am looking at one particular sheet which is troubling there. I'll show you. Where is that sheet? లేదా వరి 90కి వచ్చేసింది, అయిపోయిందా పేపర్? Where was that question with respect to filtration, energy? 7 questions. Which? This year only, no? 24 only, I think. Can somebody help me with question numbers there? Now, especially you look at that side of the sheet. Look from question number 36 to look at 37, 38, 39, 40. Right? Now, what is the difference between that side of the sheet and rest of the sheets is very simple. In rest of the sheets, I only had 2 questions per side. But here I had 5 questions. 1. The second aspect is what you see that this coming after 30 questions. Now, after reading 30 questions, what has happened, my dear? You are exhausted. Yes, why? Because every question, how do you read? You mark every sentence, how many, above, fifth generation, right? That's how we read. I understand. Now, what is going to happen is, immediately after such a laborious activity, you come to this sheet. Now, what is going to happen is, in the above exercise, you have tried attempting some questions, but you could not arrive at the answer because there were multiple statement questions. Here, suddenly your eyes start relaxing. Why? I am not having anything. Which of the following is exhaust pipe, fuel cell, electric vehicle powered by hydrogen? Now, in the exam psychology, will you feel like leaving some question like this? No. And with my observation, what I have seen, out of these 5 questions, more than 80% of the people have got all 5 wrong. Why? Because you are tempted and UPSC forces you to attempt such questions. And suddenly you will see such single liner, not only in this page, my dear, even in 2023, we had one page with respect to micro satellite DNA, right? Like that we had one. In 2021, we had a similar page with respect to triclosan, bisphenol A, all in one page. Now, what is the observation? I would suggest you to be extremely careful when it comes to such factual questions. Now, why am I telling you be careful with respect to such factual questions is very simple. You get them, you will get it right. Without the knowledge and without the understanding, if you mark them, you are ought to go wrong. Because there is no opportunity of what? Elimination. But if you relax and play upon this page, I will tell you this is the most easiest section in any year which UPSC ensures. What is it trying to look at is, it is fundamentally trying to look at your emotions. How are you playing out with respect to this? Now look at the 37th question. Which of the following is the exhaust pipe emission from fuel cell electric vehicle powered by hydrogen? Right? Now most of your eyes will go to hydronium because that option is looking posh. Ante. I'm not joking. Because in the exam hall, whatever I have studied is wrong. Whatever I don't know is right. Now, but when I put my common sense, I am saying, Arey Babu, there is hydrogen. For any combustion, because what is happening, it is talking about electric vehicle, it is talking about emission. What is the basic reaction? Some oxygen should be there, automatically it is resulting in what? Water. If I apply my cool emotion to this question, I am going to definitely have water vapor. Easy question. But many candidates have marked hydronium. I will show you one more. Now look at 38th question. Recently, the term pumped storage hydropower is actually and appropriately discussed in the context of which of the following? Pumped storage hydropower. Energy. But many people have gone for lift irrigation. Enduku? Pumping, storage, power enduku marchipoyaru? What are they talking about, my dear? Hydropower. What is hydropower? Hydel. And what is that? You only have one option which is talking about energy. Rest is what? Irrigation. Irrigation, something related to water harvesting. There is only one option which is talking about energy. Are you understanding? Look at one more question. You see, 39th, membrane bioreactors are often discussed in the context of what? Many people have gone for ART. Enduku? Membrane bio ante adi artificial reproductive technologies. Now what is happening? It is talking about membrane. We only know one membrane in our whole knowledge, that is semi-permeable membrane. అంతకు మించి ఇంకేమైనా మెంబ్రెయిన్ తెలుసా? రైట్, తెలిస్తే నువ్వు ఎక్కువ చదువుకున్నావు. వెరీ సింపుల్. సో when I am talking about semi-permeable membrane, where do I use this? I would have studied about something called as reverse osmosis. See, such a beautiful knowledge base you have. నేను రివర్స్ అనగానే నువ్వు ఆస్మాసిస్ అంటే, and automatically what is happening? Membrane, reverse osmosis. What do we do with this? We have RO water. Yes. What is it dealing with? Are you looking at this? UPSC is not pushing you to answer with knowledge. UPSC is but pushing you to answer these questions. Why? Because these are small. These are small. And automatically what happens? It is definitely forcing you to make mistake. Now you look at the other question also, that with respect to bond market, again, Indian money collateral borrowing and lending obligation. What will you borrow? What will you lend? Ante kada? No sir, it's collateral borrowing and lending obligation. No, enni sarlu chadavu, how many ever times you read that, it's going to be the same. But where am I operating all of this? I am fundamentally operating upon borrowing and lending, basic common sense. Now don't you think I would have got 5 on 5 on this? Provided what? I forget about the emotion of reading long sentences, but I start applying my common sense of these questions. Every year you will have one sheet like this in the middle. And most of the times the arrangement is between 30 to 50, one arrangement. The second arrangement that you would come across is between 80 to 90. You look at the positioning. You look at the positioning. The positioning is a point where you are exhausted. Inka na valla kaadra babu. Ivanni manakoddu. Elipodam. At that moment when you have decided, suddenly you will see small questions. Arre! UPSC knows us very well. I'm not joking. Now this takes a lot of analysis for you to look at the positioning of the question. And I can challenge you, you can go back and refer to any question paper from 2021 till 2025, you have such an arrangement. And you observe that between this 30 to 50, between this 80 to 90, it is mostly the single word questions which are existing. And always remember, in such things, please don't be emotional. I would always talk about something called as use common sense. Right? So this is what is meant by talking about random option arrangement which has been existing in the context with respect to different options. So if you see, approximately, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7. I have approximately how many arrangements? 9 arrangements. I approximately have 9 arrangements. Now can we have 10th arrangement? Maybe, probably, approximately. Yes, we would see what can be the 10th arrangement. We would fundamentally see towards the end of this session. Now, one more observation that you will have to make here with respect to the patterns again is UPSC gives you a clue about the pattern in the previous year. It is going to give you a clue about these questions in the previous year. I will prove that. For this two statement question for reasoning and assertion, we had proof in 2021. It just gave one question. And you see this UPSC filling this two statement reasoning and assertion in 2023. Let's see. Not wrong, question number 7 देखते एक बार. No, where is that? Tree City 99. నేను నమ్ముతున్నాను రా. Yes, 97. This was the first time of occurrence of statement 1 and statement 2 after 10 years. For the last time we had was in 2011. After that, we never had any statement 1, statement 2, we never had a reasoning assertion, but suddenly you see it appearing in 2021. Yes, only one question. Now, what is going to happen in 2023? You open the paper, the flow starts 11, 12, right? That question, 21st, 22nd. You see, Vastu also is maintaining. This side of the paper only. ఎందుకు ఈ వైపు బరువు ఎక్కువ అయితే ఆ పక్కన బ్యాలెన్స్ చేస్తున్నాడు. He is maintaining the Vastu of it. Right? Statement. So what has happened? It has pumped. Now, one more trend that it gave was that 1 only, 2 only, 3 only hint was given in 2022. Yes? I think history. Can somebody help me out with the question number? Last, huh? See that. Only one pair, only 2 pairs, only 3 pairs, only 4 pairs. Right? We only know about these pairs during Valentine's Day, nothing else. Now suddenly they are asking what? Only 1, only 2, only 3, only 4. Now again what has happened? This is going to be the first pattern which is coming. That means what? Is it asking you that how many of these pairs are correct? Because what has happened was, till 2020 we had decoded with respect to this arrangement of matching. Most of the times what did we see in the context of matching? We were seeing that if there were 3 statements, the answer was 1. It was again depending upon the observation of the previous trend. One more observation was if there were 4 matching statements which are given, the answer was 2. Now he has removed this particular pattern here. What has he gone for? Only 1 pair, only 2 pairs, only 3 pairs, only 4 pairs. But in those, what he is to ask? He is to ask 1, 2 is correct, 1, 4 is correct, 1, 2, 3 pairs are correct. This was easy. Why this was easy? Now for suppose, just imagine if I am rearranging this question as pair 1, 2, pair 2, 3, 4, pair 1 and 4, pair 2 and 3. Now just imagine if I eliminate one statement from this, I am able to arrive at the answer. Because I know that with the basic reading I am able to eliminate 4. But in this, if I'm able to eliminate 4, don't you think I'm eliminating at least 2 options? Can I eliminate 2 options there? Very difficult. Very difficult. Now he has given approximately 4 questions of this pattern, 2 in history, 2 in geography in 2022. What has he done in 2023? He pumps your paper with this. You see, only 1, only 2, all 3, none. Now just imagine you're feeling happy about eliminating one statement or arriving. Now we use, for suppose in elimination, if I'm using that sum logic. What is that sum logic? Some tribal people in India use niger seeds for cooking. Anything that is sum is fundamentally right statement. Now, after knowing that this is right, am I able to eliminate any option? Maximum I can eliminate only. There is no point. Are you understanding? What is he doing? He has clubbed 2021 pattern, 2022 pattern, and he makes 2023 pattern, and you see cutoff drastically falling to 78. Approximate. Lowest cutoff in the history of UPSC. Sare poddun paper illa chesadu madhyanam easy istadu. See, I was so lucky that this was my last attempt paper. Last attempt, you entering the exam hall, you will have every kind of disorder and disease. And just imagine you are facing some paper like this. What will happen? Are you understanding this? Now this was one understanding. Now look at 2024. Everybody was ready with only 1, only 2, only 3. Now suddenly what he does, he comes back to these numbers. Prashantanga number lecture. You see? Which of the following statement NBFC? Now what is he doing? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 3. Now what has he done? Yes. Come back. Yes. Now in 2024, you see this coming back. That means 1 only, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. This pattern was lost in 23. Nothing like that. Only 1, only 2, only 3. Or 3 only. None of the above, all of the above. We only know very limited knowledge and they are giving us that. Right? Now what has he done in 2025? Again he got back to number logic. In 2025 also you see ample amount of what? 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 5. Now what has he done? He just wanted to bring in some exotic nature. He changed 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. That is what he has done. Now, what is UPSC keen on this? Keen on option arrangement. Keen on making the question paper tough through options. That is why we are having this session today. The fundamental reason is now UPSC's focus is not the question base. UPSC's focus is not what is being known. UPSC's question base is not about current affairs. But UPSC's question base is now, it is limited to certain topics which are always repeated. But the question paper is becoming tougher and tougher after year for a reason that they are playing upon options. Yes, now in 2025 you will see that there are ample amount of such examples with respect to 1 to these numbers being used. And you have what? A combination of only 1, only 2, all 3, none. This combination did not go away. Yes. Now one more indication that he has given. Look at 2024 paper. In 2024 paper, suddenly again he wanted to bring in some change because he got back to this 1, 2, 3, 4. What did he start? He started 3 columns. He started 3 columns. Now what is happening with 3 columns? Again, now if I am saying these are 3 options, how many it is? 3 into 3 it is 9. In the same paper, again you see what is happening. He has started 3 statements. Statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. Now this particular option arrangement has been exhausted in 2025 because we see more than 20 questions coming from the 3 statements, statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. Every statement based question was mostly 3 statements. Now what is going to be the approach? What is anticipated with the context of 2026 option arrangement is 1. A limited number of statement based questions. When I talk about limited number of statement based questions, because 2 statement based questions and 3 statement based questions, now the pattern is old. They have overused 2 statement questions in 2023. They have overused 3 statement questions in 2025. So definitely I can see limited number of questions coming in this pattern. 1. The second aspect that you see with respect to 2026 is 3 column matching is going to be of a higher incidence with respect to question paper. When I say 3 column matching, what is going to happen? I can see probably maybe around 10 to 15 questions with respect to this 3 column matching. Get ready, right? The third trend that we can see here is I would see or I would anticipate more number of questions on single liners. More number of questions on single liners. That is again a pattern which is going to come back. Now I would give you solution for each of this again. Don't worry. I am giving you the problem statement now. I will also tell you what is the solution. So we have single liners which can come back to a larger extent in 2026, most anticipated pattern again. And the fourth, the conventional pattern. The conventional pattern of what? Numbers. The conventional pattern of numbers. That is, what is the conventional pattern of numbers? 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That can be there. Right? Now, if UPSC wants to make it even tougher and UPSC wants to think about something else, maybe it will give some Chinese numbers in middle. Because that is the only probability which is left out to be given by UPSC. But we never know, it has large potential to innovate again. Right? Now, let me tell you something important with respect to these 3 matching wala question. When we look at this 3 matching wala question, we had around 3-4 questions coming in 2025. We had 3-4 questions coming in 2024. We can anticipate 10 to 15 questions coming in 2026. Now let us see. Now in all of these, I would suggest you don't operate on first column at all. Because remember that first column you will have to keep it as static. Don't operate much. And I am not going to change much with respect to the first column. What is going to happen here is the first relation that you're supposed to see is if I'm naming A, B, C. What is the first relation that I would tell you to look at is first validate the relation of columns of A and B. Now in most of the cases what you would see, you will be able to eliminate at least one option after that relation. Right? Just look at what? The relation between this and this, this and this, this and this. If everything is correct, what I would tell you, if it is with respect to 3 statements like this, 1, 2, 3, look at the second statement relation of A to C. I'm repeating that. The first operation that you're supposed to do is A and B, this. If you realize that something is going wrong, eliminate. If you realize that all of these are standing correct, the second step in the algorithm of solving this question is look at second statement and look at the relation between A and C. Look at the relation between what? A and C. Are you understanding this? Most of the times, whatever the question base I have so far, you are able to arrive at the answer after this step. And again, I'm giving you a disclaimer, this is purely observational depending upon whatever the question base UPSC has given with respect to these three columns. And I am not only talking about civil services paper with respect to three columns. Now that has been the new pattern, and after looking at all of those patterns, what I realized was you should be arriving at the answer with these two steps. First step is look at A and B completely. The second step is if it is a three statement one, look at second. If it is a four statement one, that means 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at second and look at fourth, the relation between A and C. Now don't try to validate every statement. Now because when I'm trying to validate every statement, what is one operation? This is one operation, this is one operation, and this is one operation. So totally how many I have? 3 operations. For a 3 statement question, how many 3 operations means? 9 operations. Just imagine the volume of time it is consuming. It is going to eat away a lot of time, trust me. And the paper is going to become lengthy if I have more number of these matchings. So what is an optimized solution which I found according to the given pattern? Again, given pattern, question base of UPSC is, if I am able to see this, that means how many operations? 1, 2, 3. And I asked you to do one more operation, this and this. So if you look at that operation, what is it going to be totally? How many operations are you making? 4. Instead of making 9 operations, now you have made 4 operations. It is going to save time. It is going to save time. And you never know now, because I should tell you that in this question, if I see some options like this, only 1, only 2, only 3, you please understand, I can also get lucky. How can I get lucky? Just imagine, I was thinking that 1 is correct, but actually 3 is correct. I was thinking 1 is correct, so I could mark as what? Only 1. Answer is only 1. But actually what, when I come out of the exam hall, I realize it was not the 1 which is correct, but it is 3 which is correct. Is my answer changing? No, it is going to be only 1. You can get lucky. So what can UPSC do at this juncture? They can go back to 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, అయిపోయింది 2, 3, ఇంకేంటి 1, 3. ఇప్పుడు ఉంటుంది. Yes. What is the easiest here? I would tell you some trick with respect to this again. If we are smart enough, in any of these option arrangements, I would operate on either 2 or 3. Why? The most repeated that I see is 3. The most repeated that I see is 2. Now just imagine if I realize 2 is incorrect. Automatically answer is going to be 1 and 3. If I realize 3 is incorrect, option is going to be B. Am I validating all the 4 statements? No. So the advantage or an optimized way of solving a question with these numerics is, one, identify the most repeated. Identify the most repeated. 2, see or validate that particular statement which is most repeated. Validate that particular statement which is most repeated. Are you understanding this logic? Now, why am I doing this? I am doing this because even after reading 4 statements, what is going to happen? I am not very sure whether I am going to arrive at the answer or not. What can I do? Rather, if I look at some most common or most repeated numbers there, I can go and see whether that particular statement is right or wrong. If I see that the statement is right, I will just have to wait. But if I see that statement is wrong, I will automatically eliminate how many options? 3 options. Now, after you do this, what are you supposed to do? Quickly skim through the questions or skim through the statement. Quickly skim through the statement. For what matter? Again, this is a step of confirmation. Quickly skim through the statements. This is again as a step of confirmation. Now, why are we dealing with all of this? We are dealing with all of this to avoid rush in the last 40 questions. 1. We are dealing with all of this to read every question that is given. 2. And 3, when the paper gets lengthy, the biggest challenge all of us will have is reading the whole paper. And in that context, trust me, my dear, UPSC is very clear upon saying that observe the pattern, you will be able to optimize the solution. Are you understanding this? So when I am looking at this optimization, an average reading speed candidate should be able to finish one whole reading of the paper in 75 minutes. I should be able to finish whole reading of one paper after optimization. In how many minutes? 75 minutes. I still have how many minutes here? 45. In 45 minutes, you remove 15 minutes for bubbling. You still have 30 minutes to look at 50-50 and 25-75. The reason why most of us are failing prelims is we are reading question paper only once. And how are we reading that question paper once? First 50 questions extra careful, last 50 questions extra careless. And what is the mindset with respect to when you are reading the last 50? First 50 etlo poye. Ivu unte enta pote enta ani petti. And that day, if my Saturn speed is fantastic, automatically what is going to happen? Maybe something will get right. But that's not going to happen in UPSC prelims. So what I would tell you, you optimize these numerical arrangements through this pattern. You will be able to save some time on at least 20 questions, and those 20 questions will enable you to finish your paper in 75 minutes. This is one more dimension that you need to understand with respect to the pattern. Now one problem I don't know how many of you have observed. How many of you have written 2025? I am not going to judge. We are all here to learn. 2025. Acha, right. How many of you felt that paper was very clumsy? The questioning pattern was very clumsy, near. Adedo page will save cheyadaniki try chesinattu. Now here it is looking beautiful because I am zooming. Right? And here it is looking eye soothing because you are looking at each question. Now just imagine you are seeing the first page of your question paper to be like this. It's extremely dense, horrible print with a lot of smudging, and finally what has happened, it is what? This is the question paper. And for many of the candidates, they felt, is this UPSC question paper or some state public service commission question paper? Now do you think UPSC did not know about that? It would have known. Why? Purpose. Ante. What is the stage? Stage of selection or elimination? Eliminate. Eliminate all the book collectors and try to select only district collectors. That's it. वही तो चल रहा है prelims में. Eliminate all the book collectors and only focus on who is having that aptitude of becoming district collector. And इसमें देखो, look at this. You see, whole 2025 paper was like that only, my dear. Now this is a little eye soothing, but the twist is 3 statement questions. And what many people did, again I'm telling you all of this after sample size with talking to many students. What many people did, many people just marked these 3 statement questions and thought that they will look at these questions towards the end. Edo జ్ఞానోదయం అయ్యేటట్టు. I am not joking. And they ended up leaving all of these questions. Now please understand, writing our university exam is very different from what are we writing here. Now in university exam we have time to go back and see, go back and write, turn pages, do everything that we are supposed to do. Now in this examination, after you finish 100th question, you would have forgotten that I have left some questions for review. And what has happened in this? You would have left how many questions approximately again? 20 questions. Now just imagine you're looking at all of these questions in last 15 minutes. I'm telling you, my dear, trust me, you will not even get one question. You will not even get one question right, because one side you see time is ticking. One side you see one of the complex pattern which has been adapted. And one side you see the length of the question, and one side you see multiple statements. All of this is existing. So what is the solution for 3 statement based questions? In case if you see this occurring again, I am repeating, I think I am telling this for the 3rd time in an open session, that please understand, do not speculate on statement 1. Statement 1 is always right. Don't validate statement 1. Statement 1 is always right. There is no question of statement 1 going wrong at any cost. The second thing that you need to understand is, all that you will have to see in the first step is whether statement 2 is right or wrong, whether statement 3 is right or wrong, whether statement 2 is right or wrong, and whether statement 3 is right or wrong. Now the arrangement is very easy, or the choosing an option is very easy if this is one probability that you have, or if this is one probability that you have. That means if either of the statement 1 or statement 2 or statement 3 are incorrect, automatically what is going to happen, you see, you look at C. Only one of the statement 2 and statement 3 is correct, and that explains statement 1. Neither statement 2 nor statement 3 is correct. That is option D. So what is my second step that I will have to see? I will have to see whether both the statements are right or wrong. Now if I see that both the statements are right, what is the probability? Now I have the probability that is existing here is, look at A, both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, and both of them explain statement 1. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 1 explains statement, oh not this, This only. The option change, no? What is the confusion? What about B?
And only one of them explains statement one should be that. One of them explains statement one. Right, sir. Right, sir.
Yes, okay. Look at this. Statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, but only one of them explains statement 1. So what is happening with respect to this? Both are correct, but either of them is explaining. One is, both of them are correct, but they are explaining statement 1. Both of them are correct, but only one is explaining statement 1. So when both the statements are correct, it is either A or B. When both the statements are wrong, it is D. When one statement is right, one statement is wrong, it is option C. And is there any operation? Are we doing something on statement 1? No. Statement 1 is always static. Statement 1 is always correct. There is no operation on statement 1. We are only operating on statement 2 and statement 3. We are validating statement 2 and statement 3, and we are seeing whether statement 2 and statement 3 is the reason for statement 1. Remember this algorithm. Don't try to speculate statement 1. You can even skip statement 1 for that moment till you validate what? Statement 2 is correct, statement 3 is correct. Once you see that statement 2 is correct and statement 3 is correct, then you can see the direction of whether is it resulting in what? Statement 1 or not. This is one more dimension that you need to understand. The similar algorithm that you can also apply for two statements. If two statement questions are there, what is the first thing that you do? See whether it is right or wrong. See whether it is right or wrong. Now, if this is the probability, the option is either C or D. If this is the probability, where both the statements are right. Now, when both the statements are right, what should be seen? You should see whether statement 2 is the reason for statement 1. You should see whether statement 2 is the reason for statement 1. Please be careful, my dear. It is not the other way around. It is not the other way around. It is only about statement 2 becoming the reason for statement 1. Again, this is with respect to what? Statement arrangements. Right? Statement arrangements. So what all have you seen right now? In single liner factual aspects, right? What is the logic that we generally use? In single liner factual aspects, I would suggest you to use something called as etymology. I would suggest you to use something called as etymology. Now, what is that etymology again? Let's look at some questions. 23 ka dekha yaar. We're looking at 2023. I told you that pattern, no? That, look at this page. ప్రశాంతంగా ఉంది కానీ ఏం పెట్టారో తెలియదు. See, right? 4 questions at a stretch. Now, what is the question number range? 44 to 50. I told you first strike is going to be between 30 to 50. And they're striking. And you will also counter strike. And you will say surgical strike. And finally, what will happen? We will face the repercussions. That is there. That is always there. ఎంతమ్మా Yes. Look at 69. Aerial metagenomics best refers to which of the following situations? Right? Now again, how many of you have heard about this? Not now. Exam hall. Right? It is rare. At least when I was solving it, I did not hear about this. Right? And you might say, no, on the Sadukoledu kabatti inledu. Fine. Because at the end of the day, you please understand all these are going to be surprise. Now, what is it talking about? Aerial means what? Air. Meta, telidu. Genomics, gene. Gallo, genes, some genes. What genes we will see. Collecting DNA sample from air is a habitat at one go. In an habitat at one go, understanding the genetic makeup of avian species of a habitat using airborne device to collect blood samples from moving animals. Now you look at how funny option 3C is. Until one tiger is running for hunting the deer. You are taking drone, collect blood. Possible? Possible. First to దాన్ని వదిలేసి నిన్ను తినడానికి వస్తుంది. नहीं होगा ये, छोड़ो. Sending drones to inaccessible areas to collect plants and animal samples from land surfaces and water bodies. ఇందులో air లేదు. I am telling you how I solved. This is an attempt which I have given, right? Understanding the genetic makeup of avian species of an habitat, collecting DNA samples from air in an habitat. Now I see air. I am more comfortable. Yes, that is etymology. What is happening? I am operating on the word. I am able to look at what is happening with the word and I am then identifying, and 99% of the times it is present in the question. I can show you n number of examples. अब मान लो ये कौन सा वाला था 2025 में, you see there was one report with respect to Asia Pacific. Some report was given. And in the question also we had some Asia, in the option also we had Asia. Asia. Answer. That's what. Something related to Asian Pacific, some hub. Some hub it was. And in the options also we had Asian Development Bank, Asian Infrastructure, AIIB. You are supposed to arrive at the answer. Now let us see 70th question. Microsatellite DNA is used in the case of which of the following? Studying the evolutionary relationship. And telid first. Micro, small, satellite, telidu, DNA, okay. Studying the evolutionary relationship among various species of fauna. Stimulating stem cells to transform into diverse functional tissue. అంత చెప్పాడు దాంట్లో లేదది. Promoting clonal propagation of horticulture plants. Where is horticulture mentioned? Assessing the efficacy of drugs by conducting series of drug trials in a population. Now what are they talking about? They are talking about DNA. Why stem cell came? Both are same. Regenerative medicine experts. Both are not same. Right? Clone, horticulture. Where horticulture came? Efficacy of drugs, drug trials. What am I having? DNA, evolutionary. Are you understanding? Always go with etymology. When I say etymology, etymology is the easiest to solve. But just imagine, there is some this is 2021 question paper. Just look for bisphenol A question. Sudesh, Aksar Judas. Bisphenol A. Yes, it's there here. Bisphenol A is a cause of concern. Is a structural or key component in the manufacture of which of the following kinds of plastic? They're talking about what? Bisphenol A. మనకు బిస్లరీ తెలుసు. Bisphenol, we don't know. Now, what etymology will you use? Bisphenol A, cause of concern, a structural key component in manufacturing of which of the following kinds of plastic? The worst part is all four are plastics. నాలుగు plastic. Some is low density, polycarbonate, polyethylene terephthalate, polyvinyl chloride. All these are plastics. What shall you do in such questions? Kindly leave these questions. Right? I am a master's in polymer technology with a gold medal. I know this. But is it a condition that you should know? No. I am an expert in polymers. Matlab polymers deals with majorly what? Plastic and plastic processing. Will you know about these questions? No. What shall you do here? I have no option of knowledge. I have no option of elimination. I have no option of etymology. But what is UPSC trying to focus, or what is UPSC trying to tempt you here? Look at this page, my dear. I already told you that we have some page like this. Look at this page. All single liner. Netranandam. Beautifully present. Are you not understanding? Are you understanding this arrangement? Yes, I told you what was the arrangement, around 80. This is around 70 to 76. Now this is one such a sheet which can actually make or break prelims in 2021. Why? Factual base, but you can't leave. What will you do when you can't leave? You will mark that option which you never heard. There is a tendency that happens. Now suddenly look at 75. Triclosan. You tell me what will you use? Triclosan, considered the harmful when exposed to high levels for a long time, is most likely present in which of the following? Adi nenu cheppin technique. But in general, triclosan. What clue you have? Now can you go back and refer to all of this and see, can you search for triclosan and can you come back and mark? No option. So what shall you do? Leave. No option. There is no option of you attempting this question. You will have to leave. But somebody like me, after opening 2021 question paper, who realized that I know only 18 questions out of 100. What will I do? I will not leave. అయ్యేదైతే నాకు తెలుసు, నేను వదిలితే నాకు ఎంత వస్తుంది? మ్యాక్సిమం 36 వస్తుంది. ఏమైంది దాంతో? Anyway, nothing is going to happen. Right? I am telling you what I did in the exam hall. This was 2021. Forest cutoff also. I have written forest service and I have given interview that year. SAN. Related to sanitation. ఇది చేయాలి అంటే నీకు గట్స్ కావాలి. రైట్? ఇవన్నీ నిపుణుల పర్యవేక్షణలో మాత్రమే చేయబడు. Now because that was my worst state of mind when I started my exam in 2021. The conditions were not suitable. 5th attempt, some personal issues, some nonsense going on. 5th attempt, you will have to sit, you open the question paper, you know 18 questions. And suddenly I saw that initial around 6-7 questions I didn't know anything because 3 were sports. Ante kada. They were asking about some world test championship. Some chess. God knows. ఇంకోటి ఏదో తెలియదు. Now you go series of questions, suddenly you see your morale is down because gone case you look at the whole paper, 18 questions. At that juncture, what is going to happen, my dear? I am going to take risk and play around. When I take risk and play around, what has happened? I ended up attempting around 90 questions and ended up getting around 120 plus. Kuch to tha aise score. Now what has happened there? There I have taken risk. There is no other option that you have. There is no other option that you have. But otherwise, what is highly suggestible? Leave. Because in this page, if you see this particular question paper, in this page, this is one question you could solve if you knew basics of water. This is one question which you will arrive at 50-50, but you did not finalize the solution. You will know about this question, which is ACE 2, if you would have read basic current affairs regarding COVID-19 and all of that stuff. You do not know anything of this. You do not know anything of this. And you will know something of this if you have understood the basic concepts of light and the light propagation. Now the page appeared easy, but when it comes to solving, this was the toughest page again. Now what option do you have? Leave those questions. Leave those questions. So please understand, wherever you can use knowledge, first use knowledge. Wherever you can use techniques, use techniques. Wherever you can use etymology, use etymology. If you have crossed all of these layers, but still you have the question left, what is the safest option? Leave the question. And I don't know in which article of Constitution it is mentioned that you will have to attempt at least 90 questions. Because people will come out and say, sir, if I have to qualify prelims exam, I will have to attempt at least 90 questions. Adi evaru chepparo naaku teliyadu. Is it mentioned in Constitution? Am I missing some article there? Some schedule? Some part? Then why are you so adamant about solving 90 questions? And trust me, my dear, with the kind of papers that you have from 2021 till 2025, touching 90 is extremely difficult. 90 questions you solving is extremely difficult. So in that context, what I would tell you, that exercise the option of leaving 15 to 20 questions. Why are you worried? Because at the end of the day, what is happening, my dear? We are having cutoff of how much? 90 to 100. Is it going above 100? Impossible. Even if GS paper appears that it is going to go above 100, that is your hallucination stage 6. Because anyway that fellow is going to normalize that in CSAT. 1. 2. At that instinct the paper might seem easy, but actually it is not easy. Actually it is not easy. 2024 is a classic example of that. That paper appeared intena. Easy. And when you come out and see, there was a lot of scope for mistakes. 2022 paper was very similar again. 2022, 2024, CSAT question. 2026. On the face of it, if the paper appears simpler, easy, it is not easy. Because the same trend could be seen in 2018, same trend in 2020, same trend in 2022, same trend in 2024. ముచ్చటగా ఇదోసారి. When they start playing on the knowledge base and when we start coming across some questions which you are acquainted with, we seem and we think that the paper is easy. But actually on the face of it, it is not. It is not. And always take it for granted, my dear, UPSC question paper can never be easy. At the end of the day, all you need is what? 90 to 100. So what I would suggest? 80 to 85 should be a decent attempt. Unless and until your target is Indian Forest Service cutoff. Unless and until your target is Indian Forest Service cutoff. But I don't think for most of us the first priority is civil services. Yes. If somebody is preparing for forest service, you'll have to be prepared with at least 12 to 15 marks extra. But for somebody who is targeting civil services, I would say a happy attempt would be 80 questions with 70% accuracy. How much it is turning out to be? 56, 24. 24 is like I'm losing 8 questions, so 48. 48 into 2 is how much? 96. So an optimized solution for attempting should be what? Around 80, 85. Now somebody will question me after seeing my video or after attending my class, who told you that you should attempt only 80, 85? Nobody told me. In fact, I am telling you in written that 80 to 85 is an optimized solution with 70% accuracy. And if somebody comes out and says, no, I will attempt only 60 questions with 90% accuracy, then it is not civil services. Why? Because 90% accuracy is near impossible. What is a probable accuracy percentage in civil services prelims to a larger extent is something between 70 to 75. That is an ideal accuracy percentage. What is accuracy percentage? The number of correct questions or correct answers to number of questions that you have attempted. If I am attempting 100 questions, I know I will get 25 questions wrong. So there is no point in maximizing your mistakes, because most of your chart, if you see, the chart would be around 50 right, 40 wrong. Somebody who is attempting 90. Somebody who is attempting 70, 40 right, 30 wrong, or sometimes it is what? 35, 35. Maintaining balance. మరి ఎక్కువ అయిపోయి దిష్టి తగిలేస్తే కష్టం. 35 right, 35 wrong. Are you understanding? So somebody who is trying to attempt 90 is having 50, 40, 50 right, 40 wrong. Somebody who is attempting 70, 40 right, 30 wrong, 35 right, 35 wrong. Why are we having these probabilities? Please understand. Somebody who is getting more than 40 to 50% of the questions that are attempted incorrect. That means if you have attempted 100 questions and if you are getting 40 questions incorrect and 60 questions right, or if you are getting 50 questions wrong and 50 questions right, the biggest problem that you have is silly mistakes. 101%. You would have at least messed up 10 to 12 questions with silly mistakes. 100%. Now when I say that 100%, 10 to 12 questions you would have messed up, 10 to 12 questions you are messing up means what? Imagine you have messed up 12 questions saying silly mistakes. How much have you lost? You have lost 24 already. And you will also lose -3, 4, 4, 2, 8. Totally you lost 32 marks. It is not that you are losing 8 marks. No, you have lost 32. Why? Whatever you are supposed to get also you are not getting. But whatever you got is being eaten up by this negatives. And somebody who is getting, there is one more reason why people get these more negatives, or people get very high proportion of negatives. That means especially I see accuracy percentage of say 60 to 65%. Another major problem is lack of revision. Another major problem is lack of clarity. And more importantly, lack of ability to execute the techniques. If you cannot execute techniques, then you are going to be stuck between 60 to 65% of accuracy. If I have to maximize my score, if I have to maximize reaching somewhere around 70% of accuracy, then definitely I will have to implement techniques. Now please be very, very sharp, please be very, very clear. You need techniques to qualify prelims. Even if somebody keeps a gun on my head and says techniques work out, I would tell if there are no techniques in prelims examination, there is no prelims exam at all. Why? Because if somebody comes and says nothing like technique, nothing like elimination in prelims examination, you will have to remember that definitely there is a condition of elimination existing, and if you don't use elimination, your accuracy percentage is stuck between 60 to 65. And these are the people who are struggling with what? The mid 70s and mid 80s syndrome. You look at their scorecards would show they are getting around 84, 85, 78. That means which is very close to cutoff. Now, if somebody who is very close to cutoff and who is ranging between 70s and 80s, I am saying post 75 and up to 85, for them the solution is, please, it is never late, but use eliminations. Because for you, it is just a margin of how many more marks? 10 marks. If I say margin of 10 marks, it is how many questions? 5 questions. Are you understanding this? So one aspect that you will have to remember is there is an option arrangement pattern which is going on. Don't be surprised by looking at the option changing, because UPSC can use multiple options and all of this at once and give you a question paper. But most of the times, whatever those 3-4 points that I have told you, that is what is my anticipation after looking at these papers multiple times. Right? Be ready. Be ready. And one more learning that we have seen is we have around 9 patterns of option arrangement which is used by UPSC. And in most of the factual based questions, what is the understanding? You can solve the question using etymology. I showed you an example of etymology. If you want me to show some more, I can show you. Solve question using etymology if it is a factual based question completely. But if you cannot use etymology, what are you supposed to do in a factual based question? Leave it. And with respect to the accuracy percentage, with respect to the elimination techniques, with respect to the attempt also I have spoken. Right? Now last 10-15 minutes. What is the date today? Jan 31st. What is the date tomorrow? February 1st. Day after? Chumma I am asking, don't worry. February 2nd. When is our exam? Any postponement? Any plan for dharnas and postponement? Kuch kare? Do you think will UPSC listen? In 2015, Chennai was having severe floods. And people were requesting UPSC. Thoda. Ano oka 10 రోజులు ఆగితే ఆగిపోద్ది. బురదలో అయినా వచ్చేస్తాం. రాసేస్తాం. UPSC said nothing doing. If you want swim and come, right. I am not going to postpone. COVID. They postpone only prelims. Means nothing doing. Second wave, third wave. It says I am myself a big wave. Why COVID wave? You experience me in the mains hall. People are flying kites outside. We are sitting and writing optional. Dedu patang dabang rendu nadustunnai ida means that is UPSC. UPSC exam, no postponement. May no, because people have started this, and this is only possible around us, right? And that is adoka standard ante. What is their logic? Application delayed. There is something going on. So UPSC will postpone. So I will postpone my preparation when pre-Valentine, post-Valentine, during Valentine. It is just like pre-disaster, during disaster, post-disaster operations. They would like to manage that. Right? May 24th is the exam. So approximately May 24th, na? 25th. అవునా ఇయర్ 25th జరిగిందా? ఓకే 24th. ठीक है. Now From Feb 15th, it is approximately how much? 100 days, right? Now, some people will be transitioning. No, not that way. Right? What transition alag hai? That is not transition. That is flying. Hawa mein. That is different, right? I am not telling anything for that. Okay. Now, when we look at this Jan 31st to Feb 15, now I am saying Feb 1st to Feb 15, we see somebody who is a first timer. Any first timers in the class? First time prelims. Raise. Beautiful, right? The people around you are thinking, first time, నువ్వు వెళ్ళిరా లోపలికి నేను చూస్తా ఎల్సి రైట్ ఇక్కడ 3 5 దీస్ పీపుల్ ఆర్ లైక్ హిట్ మీ హార్డ్ యా nothing to worry right? For somebody who is a first timer who is giving first attempt, I would say shift completely to prelims. Don't take any option, don't take any chance. I always say first attempt is the best attempt. And first attempt, if you clear prelims, you have a different level of confidence when it comes to the process. That is there, right? So ensure that first attempt candidates, you completely shift to prelims. Now, there are some candidates who are around third attempt and above third attempt. I mean here when I say first and second. Somebody who is above third or third, if you wish to do some mains till Feb 15th, you can do. If you wish to. Again, I am not telling that you should. You may. You can. You might. Some people, I'm not saying all the people, or I'm not saying none of you, because all and none, wrong. Some may, can, approximate. If you wish to do, you can. But what is highly suggestible is completely shift to prelims. Now, what are these people supposed to do? Somebody who is shifting completely into prelims, I would divide them as HIR and non-HIR. It is like India and rest of the world. HIR and non-HIR. We will talk about these people little late, because I still have the crowd who is part of non-HIR, who are not part of high impact revision. For those who do not know what is HIR, that is high impact revision for prelims examination. Okay. Now for these people, the priority should be what? First, to finish your basic sources. I would say keep your February for basic sources. Now when I say basic sources, please don't keep hopping. Fix one source. You should have already fixed one source, one subject. You follow, you finish your basic sources Feb 15th. If you want me to suggest, I can suggest. Right? Definitely polity kya? Lakshmikant. Geography 6th to 12th NCERT, 2 blue books and 2 yellow books. That's all. Economy, either it is Vivek Singh or either it is Nitin Singhania, anything is fine. Any of these two are fine. My personal choice again. When it comes to history, I would highly prioritize themes, 1. Then I would prioritize the NCERTs with respect to what? Ancient, medieval. If somebody would want to replace this NCERT with Tamil Nadu books, you can do this Tamil Nadu books for ancient and medieval. That is also fine. Their states related books are there. That is also fine, because that also has a decent coverage. And if you wish to do modern, The first priority in doing modern, I would say spectrum. Right? In spectrum, I will not say pin to pin spectrum, but rather I would say focus on summary and focus on glossary at the end. You see around 40-45 pages having tabular columns. तो उसको एक बार रट्टा मार लो and look at summaries after each chapter. Right? Then environment and S&T. Some basic reading that I would always suggest is 11th class environmental chemistry chapter. You just type it in the Google that environmental chemistry NCERT chapter, you will have one small PDF which is coming. Kindly follow that PDF. Now don't start reading about organic chemistry and all. There is no point. Then the 12th class NCERT for bio. In 12th class NCERT for bio, in this, I would tell you last 4 chapters. Along with these last 4 chapters, but I would also tell you there are 2 chapters on microorganisms. Kindly read that chapter. So you would have one chapter with respect to last 4 chapters 1. The other reading could be you can focus on microorganisms wala chapter in the same textbook, 12th class, that you can follow. Now, with respect to environment and S&T, most of you I would suggest focus on current affairs. Now pick up some consolidation, right? Pick up some consolidation or pick up some monthly magazine which is specific for prelims examination. You can definitely finish that particular section of this environment and S&T. Now you have one more section that is with respect to IR and mapping. For somebody who is with respect to IR and mapping, now most of you will be focusing on what? Most of you will be focusing on places in news. But please remember, these places in news always only focus on those places which are commonly heard. Because what is the trend of UPSC is, if you are able to know the commonly heard words or the places, based upon that you will be able to eliminate the statements. Because most of the times UPSC plays a game of interchanging the options. For example, Nagorno-Karabakh, and they will say Russia. You have been hearing about Nagorno-Karabakh with respect to what? Armenia and Azerbaijan. So you are able to eliminate that, and if you are able to eliminate that, it plays a game of interchange and you will arrive at the answer. So look at the most common places in news with respect to this. And again, as I was talking in mapping sessions, please focus on conventional mapping, like seas, like straits, like national parks, like tiger reserves. It is high time UPSC is going to come back on it. Now, because all of us have neglected conventional mapping, and for quite a while we didn't have conventional mapping after 2022. And 2020 we had ample amount, in 2021 we had limited, in 2022 we had some. That means from 2020 we don't see a great episodes of conventional mapping being questioned. So in all of that instances, what happens is UPSC has all the liberty to come back when it comes to conventional mapping. Just like the trends of 2019, just like the trends of 18, 17, 16, where it was asking upon seas, where it was asking upon straits, where it was asking upon oceans, where it was asking upon national parks, tiger reserves, Ramsar sites. That is what is meant by conventional mapping. In that also, if you want me to simplify and tell you with respect to conventional mapping, focus mostly northeast in India. In conventional mapping also, focus mostly northeast in India. And if you still want me to simplify, focus mostly on Jammu and Kashmir. And if you still want me to simplify, you can focus on Western Ghats. These 3 are the hotspots when it comes to conventional mapping. Either it could be northeast, it could be Jammu and Kashmir, or it could be Western Ghats. That is with respect to India. If you want to focus on world, Africa and South America, evergreen. Africa and South America. evergreen hotspots for UPSC to question. Because anyway, you are not going to remember Europe because it is very difficult to remember Europe. Suddenly, if somebody asks you, tell me something about Czech Republic. Are you understanding? So, major focus will be on Africa and South American region. So, that can be seen with respect to conventional mapping. You finish all of these aspects by what? Feb. ఇవన్నీ ఫిబ్రవరి లోపు అవ్వాలి అంటే రోజు కనీసం 10 గంటలు చదవాలి. 10 hours you will have to study, because I think it is high time for all of us to qualify prelims. And I always keep telling one statement, my dear, once you write mains, once you experience mains, you don't feel like leaving this process. Because that is the magic in the process of writing mains. The kind of exhaustion that you have, the kind of studies that you make, the kind of execution that you plan, the kind of practice that you actually reinforce, you would see that once you write mains examination, you don't feel like you leaving UPSC at any cost. And I think all of us deserve to write mains and ensure that you are putting in just 10 hours every day with consistent approach with respect to what till Feb you finish these basics. Parallelly, what I would suggest you also do PYQs. Now, PYQs from 2011 till 2025. What should be our focus? Please don't buy hat, my dear. Right? People will take that question paper, they will buy hat. Fantastic, you do. There's no problem. But what I would tell you is try practicing techniques on these PYQs. Because PYQ is the only place outside exam hall where you can implement eliminations. None of the question papers. Except PYQs, in none of the question papers you would see the implementation of eliminations. It is only PYQs where you will implement eliminations. So ensure that you have those eliminations which you are practicing with respect to these PYQs. Now, somebody who has been irregular with current affairs, because most of us, what will happen between June to September, we don't even know how time passed off. And suddenly you will see Diwali, then after Diwali, then the New Year vibes start off, and we would have lost and we are irregular with current affairs. Now, for somebody who is irregular with current affairs, don't take all the magazines and put in front of you and start reading. No. I would tell you, on a daily basis, allocate 1 hour. Because on a general basis, if you are able to allocate 1 hour, you will be able to read 10 to 20 pages. And ensure that you finish current affairs updation by March 15th. Don't extend it anything beyond. Because what is the cutoff date for us? I would say for cutoff date for current affairs would be March 2025 till March 2026. Now somebody will say, I will read 3 years current affairs. Fantastic. Is this clear? The bare minimum that anybody should cover is March 25 till March 26. Ensure that you finish your pendency of current affairs by March 15 at any cost. So one side basics, one side PYQs, one side this. Now once you finish this, now what you have from March 15th till April 15th is one cycle that you will have to see. Because anyway from April 15th till May 24th is one cycle which is 40-day cycle where you will have to sit and revise. There is no new thing which is going to enter your cycle here. But for somebody, when you look at this time period between March 15 to April 15, what I would suggest you is you focus on writing tests. You focus on writing tests. If somebody would want to start their writing tests way early, you can only start after finishing off your basic sources. Now, some people will also have a strategy of integrating basic sources and writing tests. They would read the basic source and write a test. They would read the basic source and write a test. Fantastic. But ensure all of this is going on and all of this is getting over by what? April 15th at any cost. Right? Now, because on an average, you would have seen at least 2-3 revisions happening with current affairs with respect to basic sources, PYQs, all of this in its totality would have revised your concepts at least twice or thrice. So, in that context, you would have finished your twice or thrice with respect to April 15. From here, the only focus is on what? Revision. The other focus could be what? You don't attempt any sectional test between April 15th to 24th. No sectional tests. Whatever test you are writing between April 15th to May 24th, you are only writing full length. If possible, sit among the crowd like this. Now just imagine you're sitting in a class like this, which is houseful, and you're writing a test. That is where you see that your adrenaline rush, and you will have to control that. You will have to manage that. You will have to write. You will have to, all of the mechanics go on. So ensure that whenever you're simulating a full length test, don't sit in a study hall just like Buddha sitting under a tree and meditating. No, I need focus. Study hall lo kachitanga vastadi. Ila. I'm telling you, my dear, the difference between you sitting and writing a test in study hall and some crowd like this, you will have at least 20 to 30 marks difference. At least 20 to 30 marks difference. Because some of us are quote unquote introverts. అదొకటి ఉంటుంది ఏమనంటే I can't see crowd, I can't manage crowd, I can't talk to the crowd. Right? Yes, like me. But on a daily basis I see crowd. So what you fundamentally have to understand, these simulations are going to help you longer. And ensure that whenever you're simulating between April 15th till May 24th, Babu, don't do this part-time business. What is that? 1 hour you will write test, half an hour break. Then again 1 hour test, half an hour break. Then 15 minutes bubbling OMR. When I say between this time period, morning you ensure you write GS, afternoon you ensure you write CSAT. Fundamentally, we are setting our circadian rhythm right with the exam. Extremely important, because any kind of efficient adaptations I would require approximately 40 days. And for which, where I am telling you, sync your circadian rhythm in the cycle of exam cycle. So you ensure, because this year one more dimension which UPSC is going to focus upon is your facial patterns and facial recognition with respect to you entering. So there will be a lot of chaos. Obviously, now just imagine somewhere I see an internet shutdown. I see some technical glitch. What is going to happen? If they scan my face, your face will come. कुछ भी हो सकता है यार, who knows? Are you understanding this dimension, right? So ensure that you're simulating all of this. And please, one humble request. Don't write any test between May 17th to May 24th. Some people will be like, I want to check my performance. Not performance, performance. Babu, this is not the time. It is like I am building all the mountain and suddenly there is a landmine under. And they say, no, I want to see the strength of my mountain. ఆడ వెట్టి పేలిస్తే ఏదైనా వెళ్ళిపోద్ది. Please, May 17th to May 24th, no simulation. Close everything. Now if some institute is telling, no, come and write. Please don't. 17 to 24 is a time where you focus maximum on PYQs and maximum on basic revision. Maximum on PYQs and maximum on basic revision. Do not unnecessarily indulge in extra sources and in extra tests. This is for all of those people who are not part of HAR. right? For those people who are part of HAR, no confusion. Straight away, go to HAR notes. That means you can happily skip all of this. Then straight away get into PYQs. Yes. And again, what you need to do? Revise HAR notes. Again, what you need to do? PYQs. Again, what you need to do? Repeat. Nothing else. Is this clear? Right? Now, here I am not trying to make non-HR people get some FOMO. అంత ఏముంది దాంట్లో ఆ హెచ్ఏఆర్ నోట్స్ ఏంటి రైట్ వేచి చూడండి I am not creating any suspense. Fundamentally, I am telling because they are also present in my class today. Right? They are also present in my class today. So that is why I am telling that. For those people who are part of HAR, focus on revising HAR notes and PYQs, and you will anyway have your current affairs sessions when? Somewhere near April. Right? Focus on this revision. And what are you supposed to do? Practice tests. Right? Again, that is your option whether you would want to practice sectional tests or whether you would want to practice full length tests. See, I would always say something like 10 FLTs should be a good simulation. 10 FLT should be a good simulation. When I say 10 FLT should be a good simulation, what does that mean? Morning GS, afternoon CSAT. Right? So technically what? Now just imagine I am practicing this for every week. So that means 70 days before the exam you should start this process. Leaving 1 week there, so approximately around 80 days. That means probably somewhere in the first week of March you can start writing your full length. And what can you do for somebody who would wish to practice more FLTs? I would say every week one FLT. From March first week till May last but 1 week. That means before May, or your last simulation is going to be when? May 17. Last. Nothing after that. So you can practice from first week of March till May 17 with respect to 10 FLTs. 10 FLTs here means morning GS, afternoon CSAT. Now one very, very important note is most of us relax after writing the test. What do? Morning GS. Somehow we manage, we eat lunch, go and write CSAT. After that we are tired. Now kindly please ensure that you are finishing the solutions of both on the same day at any cost. Because what is going to happen technically, if you see that anywhere from 9:30 to 11:30 you are finishing your GS paper, and 2:30 to 4:30 you are finishing your CSAT paper. Now it's up to you whether you will sit and solve CSAT here before writing your simulation. That's fine. After 4:30, probably if you start your studies at 6 o'clock and end up at 11 o'clock, 5 hours are more than sufficient to finish your solutions. Do not procrastinate this process. I always talk about a ratio called 1:2 ratio. If I am writing test for 1 hour, I should analyze this test for 2 hours. Many people will come out and make a statement saying that I have written 100 tests but I did not qualify. My immediate question is, did you analyze 100 tests? Most of the people would not have done. It is not about how many tests you have written, it is about how well have you analyzed these tests. Now when I say analyzing these tests, very simple. See what are your weak areas. See where are you constantly going wrong. See what is the fault with respect to the direction of your thought when you are looking at a question. See what is the kind of clarity that is present with respect to a concept. And more importantly, see how are you behaving or how are you managing your emotions in the exam hall? Because analysis is not only about content, my dear. Content anyway you will read. And analysis is more to do with what? Analysis is more to do with what kind of mistakes am I making in these tests. That is the biggest analysis. And ensuring that you are not repeating these mistakes in the next test. And that is why I keep talking about basket of mistakes, where you keep on exhausting the mistakes which are present. Because all of us can make different kinds of mistakes. And nobody is perfect. And don't fear making mistakes. Make as many mistakes as possible. Make 100 mistakes. Get 0, get negative. Doesn't matter. Don't bother about the score. Don't be disheartened by the score. All that you will have to focus is what? What mistakes am I making? Other point. Even if you are getting negative minus 36, minus 18, minus 20, plus 5, plus 8, doesn't matter. But I will always tell you, if you have transitioned from minus 36 to 6, you are in right direction. Does that mean will you not qualify prelims examination? You have very high probability of qualifying prelims examination because you are in right direction. So minimize mistakes, make as many as possible, don't repeat mistakes, and this should be the purpose of writing test. Purpose of writing test is not to show off. Purpose of writing test is not to say to the others that I am scoring 100 plus, I will clear prelims but end up getting only 60. Not to impress somebody. Purpose of writing test is identifying what kind of mistakes we make. Identify. If you can make a log of these mistakes, nothing better. Before writing the next test, see those log of mistakes. What kind of mistakes am I making? Should I not repeat all of this? Go and attempt the test. Again make that log, see which mistake are you commonly repeating and be very conscious about what is that mistake and rectify. Babu, it is a scientific process. Preparation has to go on outside exam hall for all of this, for us to not make silly mistakes in the exam hall. It is not about writing many tests, it is about analyzing the test that you have written on the same day, because if one day passes, you are forgetting what is your thought process. But if you are revising and if you are analyzing the test on the same day, I will have, yes, when I was solving this question, this is my thought. When I was solving this question, this is my thought. I should be able to rectify the thought process, because I will have to hit at the roots. I cannot trim around the branches and say that the bush is going to look beautiful. No. If I have to change, I will have to strike it at the root. I will have to look at my thought process. I will have to look at the pattern of the thought process. I will have to look at what mistakes I am making. All these are very relevant when it comes to these tests. So your tests are not for showing off. Your tests are not to get disheartened. Your tests are not to goof up confidence with you. It is all about analyzing what mistakes. That's all. Is this clear? So the course of action is going to be something like this for next 100 days. A quick summary: we have seen 9 option patterns. I have told you how to solve 3 matching. I gave you certain techniques. I told you how to look at factual questions, especially with respect to what? Etymology. Then I have also told you how should you optimize your time when I see these numeric questions, numeric things which are existing when there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Look at the common, and I told you that we have a common set of finishing whole of the paper within how many minutes? 75 minutes, at least. Reading, shortlisting, eliminating, removing, everything has to happen in 75 minutes. Because anyway, I know around 20 questions are going to be single liners. That is going to save my time. But rest of the 80 questions will definitely be multiple statements. So in that context, you should be able to somehow manage those aspects, right? So that should be seen. Then we have also seen what should be the plan for next 100 days, and we have seen some do's and don'ts. Don't skip tests. Don't skip tests. And when you are writing test, ensure that you are writing test not in isolation but in the simulation. You should be able to understand what is going on when I am seeing crowd. Because I have seen people telling me, students telling me, Sir, I could not qualify prelims examination because of the perfume that has been used by the person next to me or in front of me. I am not joking. I am not joking. Now that could be a serious concern. Why? Because some of the people, when they have this pungent smell, it could result in a thunderclap headache. And when you have a thunderclap headache, gone. You're almost getting of a feeling that you're fit for nothing. And what happens, my dear? There is no other option. Even if you want to push, those thunderclap headaches will never allow you to progress. Why up to thunderclap headaches? Migraine. And one common problem most of the aspirants will have is what? Migraine. Pre-UPSC, healthy. During UPSC, all syndromes. Post-UPSC, deceased. That's there. Right? And that is the level of commitment we give it to the exam. Right? So I think ensure that you're balancing all of these things, and I wish all the very best for you to qualify prelims, and probably something very similar session you should be attending on answer writing. Right? When? After May 24th. Right? And I always tell clearing prelims is important to clear mains. There is a deeper sense. You might say, prelims aitene kada mains raayaniche. నువ్వు చెప్పేది దాంట్లో fantastic, I agree. But for somebody who is scoring 85 to 95, for somebody who is scoring above 100, this fellow finishes the exam on May 24th. On 24th evening, he would be experiencing the vibe. 25th morning, he will not see morning. 25th evening, direct, he gets up, does his mains books, opens for mains preparation maximum by May 27th. This person. Right? One more category, 40 to 50. Mains we'll see next year. Right? This category to bindas. Prelims rastaru. Right? They will write CSAT. They will come out. They will throw the exam paper along with the pamphlet given outside exam hall. And they will say, hey, paper marchipoyanu. Key చూసుకోవడానికి లేదు. చూసుకున్నామా? చూసుకోవాలి, అయిపోద్ది. After some time, when the result is out, CSAT పోయిందేమో, వాడి పేపర్ పోయినట్టు. These people will have nightmares. They would have solved some 3 questions which are simple wrong. And let me tell you their mindset. They'll finish the exam. They'll come back, check with 50 answer keys. Right? Wherever they are getting more, they will check once more. Wherever they are getting less, no, wrong key. Wrong key, nahi hoga, ye to nahi hoga. Definitely I will qualify. Papa, my dear, I'm not joking, because the state of affairs is like that. Again, this was on 24th evening, 25th morning. ఎందుకంటే వాడు రాత్రి అంతా నిద్రపోయి ఉన్నాడు. Why? Silly mistakes are not very silly. They eat away your mental peace for next 1 year. And every day your conscience says that if it was not those 3 questions, I would be writing mains. If it was not those 3 questions, I would be efficient with respect to writing mains. If it was not those 3 questions, I would be giving interview. If it was not those 3 questions, I would be getting a rank. If it was not those 3 questions, I would be IAS. And if it was not those 3 questions, I would have definitely been in Lavasana. Obviously. If it was not those 3 questions, I would have had my beautiful cadre. If it was not those 3 questions, my marriage would be next year. మొత్తం ఏం చేసింది 3 questions. 24th, 25th, 26th, every day they are looking at the question paper. They open the optional, you see those 3 questions appearing. They are reading GS ethics, 3 questions appearing. Aida avada, and they would have lost 2 weeks. Because when you look at the span that is available here, 24th, 21st August, approximately 80 days. In 80 days, you have already lost 14 to 15 days. And you are remaining with 65 days. I don't think any magic happens. But whereas this fellow is utilizing all 80 days. And somebody who is ready with their optional notes, this 15 days, that fellow will finish at least paper 1 in the optional. That is why I say clearing prelims is very important to clear mains. And you should be confident of clearing prelims on the day of the examination itself, right? So ensure that you keep some things of this in your head and ensure that you try to implement, and any kind of doubt, any kind of questions, I'm always available, right? My Telegram channel is there, my Telegram handle link is there. Any message, any doubt, any question, I'm available, and I would only answer them if they are meaningful, right? So that is it from my side for today. I think you have learned something and you enjoyed the session. Thank you, my dear.